Like that, egg trays, fruit trays, and all of those they can also be used. You can also use a small kind of kid pool. That's what I used as my first type of gardening that I took care of when I was 8, if I'm right. And I we planted in this because our owners didn't let us plant in the ground. So it's kind of like a raised bed, except it's portable. So it's so much better if you just want a small garden. You can also use nursery pots that you got instead of buying fresh, good looking pots. If you just want to have a small garden and nobody's going to be looking, you can just use this nursery pots like in this picture. You can see I just use a nursery pot and it doesn't really matter. You don't want to be using paint cans or containers like that might have had toxic materials in them, and that could go into your fruit, what you eat. So you don't want to be doing that. In the same way, yogurt containers and containers like that are not meant to be pots, so they don't last more than 1 to 2 seasons. So you'll have to keep using them again and again. But that is so much better than just throwing them out. And here's a fun fact. There are over 80,000 edible plant species. So there's a huge variety out there. And pots, as I said, have different types of shapes and sizes. The most common is a trade gallon, and then you have the 1/4 quart. The 1/4 quarts are the small little nursery seedling pots. And you always have to use the right type of size and right type of shape of a pot for the right type of plant. If you don't use using the right type of pot can save you lots of work, time, and even money because you don't have to use as much soil. As you can see in this picture, these are the long nursery pots that you use for grafting and rooting. Because different plants need different types of pots, you won't be growing microgreens or even lettuce or other leafy greens in these types of pots. It just doesn't make sense. Why use such a long pot when you don't need that much root space? But it would make sense to grow carrots. Carrots make sense to grow in these types of pots because it has lots of root space and and it isn't as wide, so you don't need as many leaves for a carrot. In the same way, a shallow pot like this would be perfect for lettuce or microgreens because they don't have as much root system, and they need more of a wider area to produce. So, it in the same way, it wouldn't make sense to grow carrots in these types of pots. And also, you could also grow succulents in these types of pots and other leafy greens. These are the starting seed pots in this photo. And when you're starting seeds, you want to use these small pots. And these are the pots that they sell in the nurseries when you buy a seedling. And that's for a little bit of scale. Mature tomatoes and peppers would need at max a 5-gallon pot. That's a pot that had the guava in it. And if you ask someone in a nursery, they'll show the different sizes of pots. Most annuals don't need any more than a 3-gallon pot, and a 5-gallon pot would be big enough. So don't go out spending too much money on pots. And if you want to optimize produce and the amount of money you spend, you want to make sure you don't spend too much money on potting mix. Oh yeah, also an annual is a plant that only lives for one season. So most annuals, because they only live for one season, they need a small pot. So now I'm going to go into the different materials of pots, and I'm going to cover the 3 main types: the clay and cement pots, the plastic pots, and the grow bags, or those are also called the cloth pots. These clay pots have lots of insulation, and they keep plants very, very warm at night. Because of how thick they are, they keep plants warm at night, and they don't they don't absorb heat super fast, and they don't let go of it super fast in the same way. Clay pots, although clay pots are more expensive to other pots, they do look much better, and clay pots are made naturally, and they are guilt free. So because they're made naturally, they're guilt free, and you're not hurting the environment. But concrete hard without breaking the pot. So because when you're removing the plant from the pot and you're trying to turn it upside down and all, it's hard to not break it. Next, I'm gonna talk about plastic pots. Plastic pots are very, very affordable. They're available at most nurseries, and because they're affordable, you can get them in large numbers. And this pot right there is a very common trade gallon pot, and it's only 50 cents. But they have a few downsides, including they can heat up very easily in the sun. Just with a little bit of heat, they can trap it inside, kind of like the greenhouse effect. And because most plastic pots are black, they absorb much more sun. And another upside to plastic pots is they do not break easily. So you can just squeeze the pot a little and you can get the plant out much, much easier. They're made out of plastic, so they don't decompose easily, and they're not good for the environment in the same way. So you might want to look out for that if you're trying to be more environmentally friendly. Next, I'm going to be going on to the one that I like the most. They're called grow bags. These pots are relatively expensive, but that is the only main downside. The pots are pretty hard to uppot. That's because the root fibers they penetrate the roots penetrate into the bag fibers. But the main reason why that doesn't happen is because the pot has extra aeration, and the pot has a special way of making sure there is no to make sure the roots don't coil around the pot, because when the air goes and hits the pot, it kind of like dries out the roots tips, and when you cut the top of a plant, it gets more branches because you cut the growing tip. In the same way, when you cut the tip of the root, you get more roots. So that's one more reason. And these pots are very lightweight, and you can store them in large numbers. Another reason is you can poke small holes in it, and you can grow strawberries, for example, on the sides of the plant. Now I'm going to go into how to uppot a plant. Uppotting is very easy if you do it properly. So first of all, you want to pick a pot that is around 2 to 3 times the size of the pot you are uppotting. You want to take the original pot and you want to measure that. And after you take the plant out of the original pot, take that and fill the soil, fill the bottom, as you can see, with potting soil, and put the pot and measure. There should be a 1-inch water line, so the water just doesn't overflow as you plant. You use the original plant pot to measure. Then you want to take your plant, and if it's root bound, you want to turn it over, take the root fibers and pull it out and kind of like cut them a little bit. And then you want to plant it in the kind of just sit it there, and you want to add soil around the edges. It's much easier sitting it in if you have another person. Then you can just have another person holding the plant with the stem, and you can just put this soil around the edges. So now I'm going to be talking about a few tips for uppotting. First of all, this is a large beginner's tip and a beginner's mistake, and it is a huge myth. Do not ever use gravel or stones at the bottom of your pots. That's pretty simple, because as you can see in this picture, the wettest soil is at the bottom of this pot. Can you see that? But when you put gravel, the same 2 inches, no matter how large the pot is, even if it's 1,000 feet tall, at the bottom 2 inches, there will be a water, the very, very wet area. So you want to make sure that you don't put gravel at the bottom. It does help drainage a little bit, but it makes the wet area go up and it causes root rot. Always make sure to water after planting so you reduce root shock. It's kind of like moving, and to reduce the shock, you put all of your furniture inside the house so it's less shocking. You also want to stiffen the plant around the edges by pressing down at the root base. And you have to do that right after planting. So now I'm going to be sharing a small video that I made on how you should be transplanting. So can you hear the volume? Can you guys hear it? Can you hear it?
No, we cannot.
Oh,
Let me share it.
1 minute. I think my dad can share it.
You can continue with other friends in the meantime.
Hello guys, today I'm going to be transplanting.
Can you hear it?
Hold on. Share.
Yes. They said that they can hear that.
Okay.
The audio is not clear, Raja. We hear some echo. I don't know if that is the case in everybody's.
Can you mute
It's
yourself?
fine. I think it's fine for Prakash's.
Okay.
No. Okay.
Yeah, a bit of echo is there, yes.
And I think we're unmuting the other segment.
Everybody, if we unmute.
Is it better now?
Like to break the roots just a little bit.
Better now. Increase the volume if possible.
So now I got my pot over here, so I'm going to put it in. I'll just put the first one here. So I'll take this pot and see. I have the potting mix over here. So let's put the potting mix. See whether I feel that it's still the trick of it. So as you can see, you want to make sure that there's 1 inch of space over here. Below, above the soil line. So as you can see, this pot, it does position it too low. So I'm going to they're not too many roots, you want to go that bottom, but it's still like that. And lots of the time, the plant might not have too many roots, thank you guys for watching my video. Please go to hit that like button.
Okay, so I'm going to be continuing with my presentation. So I'm going to be continuing to indoor plants. The easiest indoor plants to grow are pothos, this money plant. That's the easiest plant to grow by far. That's the plant that I always use to grow. And that's the plant that most people should start by growing. Then is the snake plant. That's the plant that is the hardest to kill, in my opinion. It just stores water, and even if you underwater it and forget to water it, it just stays alive. Over here, let me get my pointer out. This is the snake plant, and that's another plant that we have, and that's another plant that we love. And then we have the aloe vera. This is a super medicinal plant, and it also gives it purifies the air around you a lot, and it's a very common bedroom plant. And then you have the English ivy. The English ivy is, in my opinion, is one of the most beautiful creepers. It just creeps up, and it can also be hanging down. It also has the colors on it is super beautiful. It has the white edges on it. Then you have the wandering Jew. It's not in this picture, but it grows super fast. You just plant it, and then it just sprawls all around, and you can also grow it from a cutting. Then you have the spider plant. This is by far one of the easiest type of plants to grow. It reproduces like crazy. It has these runners, and it reproduces super duper crazily. And then you have succulents. All succulents are really, really good. And in my opinion, the jade is the easiest, and it's one of the best. It's also said that putting a jade in front of your house gives you good luck. And same with the aloe vera. And another fun fact is you actually need to water plants much more in winter, indoor plants much more in winter than in summer. That is because in most houses, when you have a heater, the heater removes the humidity from the room and it heats up the soil, what makes you watering much more. So in the winter, you have to water much more, and you have to be careful of that. Most people think that you have to water less in winter, so you have to make sure you water more in winter. So now I'm going to be going through a few pros and cons of indoor plants. First of all is air purification. Air purification is the #1 reason that you want to have houseplants. Houseplants purify the air much more, and they remove toxins from the air that come in daily life, in the modern daily life. Like when you do washing, you have the soap that goes into the air, and that's not good for us. So the plants take that in, and they release very nice oxygen for us to breathe out. Plants also are really good looking, in my opinion. They remind me of nature, and plants can make your whole house look much better and make the aesthetics look much better. Plants also have positive vibes. Like when you go on a trail or you're in nature, you feel happy and you feel positive. In the same way, having plants around makes you happy, and it gives you positive vibes. Like that, healthy plants give out oxygen, so they make a healthy environment around the entire house. There are multiple studies that say that plants in a work office or in your bedroom, so now in COVID, having plants in your bedroom will increase productivity, and it could increase productivity up to 20%. Plants also reduce stress, and there are multiple studies showing that, and they reduce the stress phenomenally. Okay, so now let's go on to the cons. The pros always outweigh the cons in indoor plants, and the cons only come if you don't maintain the plants properly. So if you make sure you maintain the indoor plants properly, none of these will happen. First of all, flies and bugs can come if your plant is infested with any type of pest, but you can get rid of them by using an organic pesticide. Always use organic. And you have to maintain your plant. You have to water it, occasionally fertilize it, uppot it. You have to make sure it does, and when it has a pest, you have to take care of it. So there's just a minimal amount of maintenance. And whenever your plants get sick, you just lose a little bit of time because you have to take care of them and make sure they're doing okay. Fungus is one reason you might not want to have them at home. There could be fungus if there's not enough aeration and light coming. And so if you maintain your plants properly, fungus or smell won't be coming from the plant. And the only smell that should be coming from your plants are good, nice smells. One of the biggest cons, in my opinion, and the con that you're going to always get is a plant sitter. When you're going on vacation, you will need a plant sitter because plants can't take care of themselves. And if you're going on a really long vacation, you'll have to pay someone to take care of your plants, and they will have to water your plants. They'll have to make sure your plants are doing okay, apply pesticide, fungicide in case if your plants are not doing good, add fertilizer, and do all of that. So you have to hire a plant sitter. You also have to make sure you keep your plants clean, and you have to take care of water spills and dirt that fall down. So I want to go through a few pictures of a few plants pictures of our garden. This is our indoor garden. As you can see over here, this is a before picture of that. And let me remove the pointer. So we got this after this. So a few of the plants may be repeating. Over here is our favorite plant, the pothos or the money plant. And it just started from one cutting and then it just keeps growing again and again. And over here we have a bromelain. And then aloe vera. It helps air purification a lot. And we have two money plants over here. And then in the second picture over here, you can see the spider plant. We have a large spider plant. Here's the money plant again, and it's much longer. You can see that large, long golden pothos. And we love succulents, and my mom makes these super beautiful succulent arrangements with these purple colors and the yellow flowers. So we have a few succulent arrangements that my mom made. So you can see them over here. My mom put some perlite on top to make that sand look, and she kind of makes it look like a mini desert, and they look super cute. So if you have a little bit of time and you can buy super cute pots, and you can make these cute arrangements and decorate your house. So now I'm going to go into proper watering. Lots of people think that they're taking care of their plants, and they think, I'm watering my plants every day, I'm doing great. But watering your plants every day in most cases is not really good. That is mainly because that leads to root rot, and root rot is a very, very deadly disease. As you can see in this picture, as you see the gravel, and you can see the root rot zone. You want to make sure that your plant, when it goes to the root rot zone, it should not stay there too long. And that's called a perched water table. And no matter what, there'll be that 1 to 2 inches of water zone, no matter how big your pot is, like how I said before. Sorry. So overwatering is deadly, much more deadly than underwatering. And to fix overwatering, the disease that comes with overwatering is root rot. And to fix root rot, you'll have to remove the root ball and remove the whole plant out of the pot with the roots. And you have to let it dry outside. That's what I do most of the time. And if it's very deadly and it looks like the plant might not recover, you'll have to wash all of the dirt off, and you'll have to leave the roots to dry. And as you can see in this picture, root rot can be deadly. The fungus can go from the roots, and it can slowly kill your leaves. That's the main reason you see yellow on your leaves. That's because of fungus, and mainly because of root rot, not because of underwatering. So underwatering, as I said, is a much less severe issue. So as if you just add water, that will fix it. But the problem with underwatering is it exposes your plant. When a plant is weakened, it exposes itself to much other diseases, and a disease or a pest picks on plants that are much weaker. Water the plant deeply, and if the plant has been underwatered a lot and leaves have even fallen off, you might want to just take so much water and just soak the plant in water and cover the drainage holes and just let it sit in water like a small little swamp for a day or two, and then it should kind of hydrate a little, and then remove that water. You don't want to keep that there for too long, or else that's called deep watering, or else if you leave that for too long, it will cause root rot. So now we're going to start making paper pots and these super cute little wait, is it working? Can you run it? These toilet tissue paper pots. Get the camera going. So can you see the start video? I'm going to stop sharing my screen. So first we're going to be doing the newspaper pots, and then we're going to be doing the empty toilet tissue roll pots. You don't. So can you see the paper? So you want to take the big newspapers, the big ones. You want to take that and you want to cut it in half. As you can see, this has been cut in half, or you can just use a half newspaper. So you want to take this and you have to go against the folds that are already in the pot. And what you want to do is you want to make sure you fold it in half. This looks like it's folded in half, but there's a little bit, and you have to go against the older folds and make sure it's pretty much exactly in half. And so you fold that. Okay, so I'm assuming you all folded it. And then you want to fold it in half again. And you want to you fold it in half this way, where you don't want to be folding it where the paper opens. You want to be folding it the other way, as you can see. Fold it like this. And to show you guys, I'm just folding to make the crevice. So I'm going to mark it with a marker. You know how to do this? So you can see that line, the halfway line that I drew with the marker. I'm going to take the side that is not open, and I'm going to fold it like kind of like making a paper airplane. Do that like that. And do this like this. So if you guys have any questions or you're having a hard time doing it, you can ask me, and you can unmute yourself and ask me. So you want to make sure you fold these very hard. And now what you want to do is you want to take the open side. I hope everybody did it the right way. So this is the open side, and you want to bring it to this edge over here. You can mark it with a marker. You see that edge? You're gonna bring it to there, and you don't want to use both of them. You want to only use one, and bring it like this. Fold it, and then you take that. I hope everybody did that, and then you're gonna do it like this, and fold it tightly. Is everybody done with that? If you want me to wait, I can wait. Okay, I'm assuming that everybody finished that. So now this is the side that is like that, and you want to flip it over. So you want to make sure this is not in the front, and you want to flip it over like this. And now what you want to do is you want to fold it in the middle, so you can get the crevice and find the center point. So now that I fold it in the middle, I know the center, so I'll draw that line for you guys. So that's the middle, and you want to bring these sides. So each one of these sides. So can you see that? Let's see. You want to bring that over there. So you're going to bring this corner over here and fold it to the middle. Do that like that, and do it on the same side, on this side like that too. So do it on both sides, and make sure to fold this very hard. Make sure it comes away. Okay. Are you guys done with that? Pretty. Fold it hardly. And now, are you guys done with that? Yes? Okay. So you want to take this. Here, I'll draw it. And then you have this line where you folded it. You see over there. Can you see that where you folded it and there's kind of like a gap there? I'll mark it for you if you can't see it. You can see that black line. You want to take this and you want to fold it in half. So you bring it there. So you're going to be making sure that you're using a half newspaper for this. And then you're going to take this and you're going to fold it again like this. And you can see that pot starting to form. So this is a kind of a tricky part where you have to fold it really hard. And here, you have to take this. Can you see this pocket right over here? This pocket. You want to take this part and you have to put it in there. This is kind of tricky, but you have to kind of like hold it. And the way the way I do it is I just hold this like this, and I take this and I just put it in with my fingers. So it's like in like that, and then you want to make sure it all goes in. You see those little corners? You want to make sure it goes in thoroughly.
Don't move so fast. You're plugging the line.
So you want to make sure it goes all the way in, and you're going to fold it. And now what you want to do is turn it over. Turn it over to the other side where it doesn't have the pocket thing. And you want to take this tip and bring it over there. So now that you do that, only take this corner. So only take that side and fold it. So you're kind of making a crevice. So just that. Just fold it over there. So take it like that and just fold it like that. And then what you want to do is if you open it like this now, just you want to make sure you do it like that. So then you have this part. Can you see this like this? You're going to put it in. And you want to fold it. And then you have your pot. So to make it stand, what you could do is you could just fold the edges a little. Like that. There you go. You have your pot. So what I did with the other pots is here. Let me grab them. I made some other pots like this. So I have some more. So to make the base a little stronger, what I did was I added a piece of cardboard in it, cut a piece of cardboard and put it in. So you can even put a hole in it if you want for better drainage. So when the water goes down. So is it possible for you guys who did it to on your videos and show it to the camera of what you did? Huh? Can you guys show it to your cameras if you did it? Okay, so now we're gonna be doing the toilet.
What do you use those pots?
Oh yeah, we use these pots to start seeds. So you can fill these with a little bit of potting mix, and you can plant seeds in them. And you can also do cuttings and just small. You can use it like any other pot. And the good thing about this is you can just cut it a little bit at the bottom, and you can just pop it right in, and you don't have to remove it from the pot. And because that's because it's biodegradable. So now we're going to be making these cute little pots. These are made out of toilet tissue rolls. For this, you'll need a scissors. Can you see these? So grab your toilet tissue. You take your, and then for this one, you'll need a small cup of water. And you're gonna take your toilet tissue, and then if you want to make it into a square, you're first gonna squeeze the edges like this, and then do the same thing on the other. So kind of like make a square. So you do it like that, and now you have the square. And make sure it's these don't really like to budge. That's why I use a little bit of water at the end. So now you have kind of like mold it into place. So now you have this square pot. If you use the squares, then they'll fit better and you can use less space. So now what I'm going to do is make the base. So I'm going to take my scissors, and you know what? You want to cut just about 1 inch in on the edge, like over here. Can you see this? I'm going to take that and I'm going to cut it. Do that like that. Like that. Just like this. Do it on all of the edges. You might be wondering, how are we going to stick this together? Well, most of these already have a little bit of glue that they use to stick the paper on. So all you have to do is kind of like fold these so they'll stay in place. And as you can see in these ones, they don't really come off. So I'm going to kind of like fold them. And do it to all of the sides. For the last side. And now, you can see this. And you want to take your water. So what you want to do is take this like this, that like that, and put this like this. And then when you do it like this, here's a sample. You want to do that, and then this comes off if you don't use the water. So what you want to do this is just put it in water and just let it stay for a few seconds so it soaks up. You can see that the water is coming in. So then and you want to let these overnight. And let these dry for about overnight, and then after these dry, they become like this. So you want to set these in a tray. You can just set them down or set them in a tray, and the bottom part doesn't pop out. and you can make multiple of these and make a full tray of seedlings. So now how about we
Paper ones.
so you can so here's the ones that I made. We made the cardboard, the empty toilet tissue one, and then we made the paper one. So you guys can multiply this and make much more. So how about we go on to the Q&A section? So it's a good time to ask questions. You can unmute and ask questions, or you can even send them in the chat. So is there any questions?
Sankalp, I have some questions with right to the type of soil that needed to be used for a seedling.
Okay.
Do you have any suggestions?
Yes. I talked about this in the last session in the season soil, but I will go over it again. What I use is the normal potting mix, except you can either sanitize that. What I do is I have this sieve that I use. I wish I had a picture of that to show you. You have this sieve, and I take my normal potting mix I make, put it on top, and I sieve that, so you have the smaller bits of potting mix in the smaller material size, and that retains water more. So I add some perlite or vermiculite in that to make it more fluffy, and I use that. You can also sanitize your seed starting mix to have higher germination rate. So to just sanitize it, you can just put it in a tray and put a saran wrap on it, and then if it's summer or it's hot outside, you'll just use the heat, and that'll just sanitize all of it using heat.
Thank you.
Welcome. Can I share a video? Okay, yeah, I will. I could, yeah. Yes, I will share it. If you just email me, then I will share it to you. If you.
Oh, sure, Sankalp. I would ping you there for the video.
Okay, then. So I see a. Okay. Are there any other questions on making the pots or anything? Let's see. I see that Warren has a question. Oh. Okay. It seems like there's nobody else who has questions, so you can ask questions now. Anything about the session or anything?
Do you have any suggestion about how fresh the seeds are? Like I do have some seeds bought like 2 years before from now. Do you think they are ready to go, or should not be considered at all?
Well, if they're 2 years old, they could. I think 5 years old is the max cap. Most seeds are used, but what you should just plant more seeds in each. So the viability rate could even drop to 20%. So you can use maybe 10 seeds per. So you can plant 10 seeds and expect a few plants. It really matters about how you stored them. Like, did you just store them normally in a shelf, or like did you store them in the freezer or anything?
It's like in a box in a packed packet and just close it.
Yeah, so I would plant max 5 seeds, and usually if it's just 2 years for most seeds, it would be fine.
So would you suggest anybody to save it in the freezer anytime? Like if you really want to preserve the potency, is that what it is?
Yes, so I preserve all of my seeds in a freezer. I use that because that's the way I've always stored them, and because I have a large seed collection of over 50 varieties, I want to store all of them, and whenever I can grow them, I want to use them. And that's the same way they have a huge seed bank in Antarctica where it always stays cold.
Wow. Thanks for sharing this info.
Okay.
Wow.
There's a question on the chat.
Used coffee grounds from Starbucks. Is it a good idea to add to the plant beds?
So are they a good idea? So it really matters. If there are if they're sanitized, it's a good idea. But coffee grounds, they might contain a little bit of acid. So when you plant them, you want to make sure you don't use too much of it for plants that that don't really like too much acid. So they do the coffee grounds do contain lots of nitrogen because and same with tea grounds. So especially tea grounds, they contain lots of nitrogen. And just in my opinion, you should not put them on the top. That might make mold. So you want to travel it in and Are there any other questions? Okay. Seems like there are any other questions, right?
Do you want to give a quick, very quick 2-minute synopsis or the summary of your first session, those who didn't attend?
Oh yeah, so in my first session, the main things that I talked about, let me open that up. The main thing I talked about is the different types of the soils there are. You have the clay soil. Then I talked about what type of potting mix you should use and how you're supposed to make them. And then I went into how the mycorrhiza and biology works in your roots and how it expands the roots. And then we had a break. And after that, we talked about how seeds and seedlings worked. And then we talked about how you're supposed to plant the seeds properly and seedlings. And then we went a little bit more into how you're properly supposed to plant. And then we grew microgreens. So we started planting the microgreens. That was a small little activity. So if nobody has any more questions, I guess you can leave. Did you already start sowing the seeds this season? Yes, I already did. I started the seeds a week ago. So here in California, I'm going to be planting around March. So I'm going to be ready to plant around March 3rd. Right now, so like 2 weeks from now.
So can you elaborate what seeds you have planted for this season and where did you order those from?
So I ordered all of my seeds from MI Gardener, and almost all of my seeds I ordered them from MI Gardener, but a few of them I got them from rareseeds.com this season. So I got a few other really cool rare seeds like the white bitter melon, and then the white watermelon. I have a lot of cool, and then I have the Berries Crazy Tomato. This that has hundreds of tomatoes on each plant. So yeah.
Don't you save your prior crop seeds anytime? Do you prefer to buy always, Sankalp?
No, I actually do save lots of the seeds. I usually what I do is I have lots of seeds that I saved here. I have a few packets that we trade. Wait, can you see that? We have a few packets, and then I I make these small little packets. These are the bitter gourd, Karela bitter gourd, and then I have a huge packet of radish seeds that I saved, and then I have, let's see. Oh yeah, here is a huge packet of radish seeds that I saved from a couple years prior. And then I saved the okra seeds from our crop. I usually save seeds if they're good, if they come from a good plant. Okra seeds that I saved. So yeah, I do save seeds. I usually buy them once and I keep saving.
Just for the information, I was asking that you were buying right now. So, okay, you're just getting the new varieties. That's what you meant to say.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
do you want to talk about that first slide of about me a little bit in the ending before you call it off?
What?
About me, first slide of your previous presentation.
First slide of the previous.
That's okay. What, just
oh yeah, about me. Oh yeah, I didn't talk about this presentation. My name is Sankalp Imadi Setti. I am 12 years old. I live in Roseville, California, and my weather is in zone 9B. I've been passionate about gardening since I was a toddler, and I also have a gardening YouTube channel called Green Thumb Garden. It would be really nice if you could subscribe to that. I guess it's 6, so you guys can leave, and I'm going to be ending the meeting soon. If there's no one who wants to ask specific questions or if anyone needs specific help with making these pots.
Thank you, Sankalp. That was a great session. Thank you.
Thank you. So if there's nobody else with questions, we're going to be ending the meeting.